Mr. Knuuttila.
Yes.
Last August, State Representative Stephen DiNatale of Fitchburg said that building a casino, and I quote, in the central Massachusetts area and north central Worcester County would be great. What would be the effect on the district if a casino were to be built here? And would you support a casino if it were built in this district?
There was a proposal, and I believe you're referring to the Palmer Casino. And that's what I believe Representative DiNatale referred to, was the proposal to build a casino in Palmer. Let's make one thing perfectly clear during this discussion. I support Governor Patrick's proposal for casino gaming in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, nearly in its entirety. I don't believe or adhere to the social ills argument that I've heard for many, many years that have been argued by people like Chairman Dan Bosley of the House of Representatives. There is nothing comparable to casino gaming that will put additional revenues into the pockets of cities and towns, create livable, excellent, livable wage jobs for the people who would build them, and then continuing livable wage jobs for the people that would man the casinos and service the casinos. There's nothing comparable out there in not only our near but our distant future. The only facet that I would disagree with in terms of the governor's casino gaming piece is that there was a facet that would make our internet gaming or various aspects or components of internet gaming illegal in the Commonwealth. I'm not so sure I necessarily agree with that. But I think that this is a time for this issue has come in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Thank you.
And I think a casino in Palmer would be acceptable.
Representative Flanagan, same question.
I voted for casinos for the proposal that came before the legislature in the past couple months. And I wanted to also say that this goes far beyond casino gaming. This goes to the tune of resort destination casinos or destination resort casinos. There's much more that goes on in those casinos than gaming. You know, there are shows, there are different venues to bring people in to go down there who may never even touch a slot machine or a gaming table. This is about bringing jobs to Massachusetts. And as my discussions with the governor happened weeks before the proposal came out, we talked about the importance of being a partner. The communities need to decide whether or not they want this proposal in their district. They need to decide how it is that they want to propose being that partner. Now, for me, I want to make sure that there are enough jobs for people, especially up here in the North Worcester County area, because there's so many times that we've often been forgotten about. And, you know, and the closure of Devon certainly had its toll upon our district. But I think as we talk about casino gaming, certainly you're going to talk about some of the ills of gaming, and that's going to happen. It's happening now. We have the Massachusetts lottery. If people have issues with gaming, it's continuing to happen. A lot of this happens online. It's not as if it's only happening here in Massachusetts. So I think as we revisit the issue of casino gaming, you're going to see some people really talk about the impact that it's going to have and the economics that we can really bring to people's homes.
Thank you. Representative Flanagan, do you support Governor Patrick's proposal to allow cities and towns to raise additional revenues through local meals and occupancy taxes? Why or why not?
I think there's two parts to that question. Certainly we want to raise revenues in different ways that we can, but we also have to look at how exactly we do that. There have been talks about having a local option where one city can do it and not the next, and I think you start to pit the cities against each other. You know, if you take a look at Leominster and Fitchburg, Leominster is in a much better financial position than Fitchburg is. So Leominster may opt not to do that, and Fitchburg may opt to have the sales tax, and that may sway people about where they want to go. But I think we also have to look at some of the taxes that we need to really look at to bring more money into the state and to bring more money into these services. Because what I see each and every day in my district office is people coming in looking for help with health care, looking for help with home heating costs, looking for help with trying to finance a home, or they're facing foreclosure and they don't know where to go. So I think we need to look at that, but if we're going to do it, we need to do it statewide.
Thank you. Same question to you.
An omnibus bill is what's needed because Boston does it already. They have local control on raising revenue. And part of that is the meal tax and local control to raise their meal tax. Now, there's been much to do with the current administration in talking about things like the Municipal Partnership Act and reestablishing the relationship between the sovereigns and the cities and towns, because I don't know exactly when the disconnect occurred, but it happens. There is no partnership between the sovereign, the state, and the cities and towns. You have to allow certain initiatives like cities and towns to raise revenue by themselves or on their own and allow that to continue, or allow it to take seed and take root, because that's the way it once was in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But since about 1967, you have to go to the legislature for virtually everything. It's about time that the state allowed cities and towns just a smidgen more autonomy and allows them to raise revenue in tough fiscal times based on what the people of those specific communities want through their elected representatives. It's time for that. Now, whether that Municipal Partnership Act in its entirety is going to pass the legislature, I hope so, because part of it is closing various telecommunications tax loopholes, which will give towns like Sterling and Clinton and Bolton tens of thousands of additional dollars.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Knuuttila, 8 years ago, the people of Massachusetts approved a referendum rolling back the income tax rate from 5.85% to 5%. In 2002, the legislature stopped the rollback at 5.3%, where the rate sits now. Did the voters make a mistake in 2000, or should the tax rate be reset at 5%? Why?
I'll put it to the listening audience. In the relatively tough fiscal times that we find ourselves in, would that be a responsible thing to do, to go back to 5%? Would that be a responsible thing to do in the tough fiscal times that the Commonwealth currently finds itself in? My knee-jerk reaction would be no. But, listen, I'm not for turning the Commonwealth of Massachusetts into one big town meeting. I know we're a republic, and you elect your representatives, senators and representatives, to go to Boston and represent your interest. And through them, your interests are supposed to be adhered to. But these issues that the people tell us to do need to be looked at seriously. They've told us to do certain things, and we should do them. Now, my knee-jerk reaction, as I said, would be something along the lines that maybe I wouldn't do it initially. I'll tell you, I'm torn on this issue because we are in tough fiscal times. But the people told us what to do, and I would support that issue.
Thank you. Representative Flanagan, your question.
I think that the voters have their voices spoken every day. Every day that they talk to their elected officials, whether it be a local elected official, a state elected official, a federal elected official's office, people talk about what's important to them. I think part of the reason that people often say, you never hear us or you never pay attention to what we want, is that there's constantly dual messages going through. There's usually the message saying, we want you to roll back your taxes, you're going to put more money in your pocket, and then there's the other message saying, if we roll back your taxes, you're going to have less services in the state. That's all very true. I don't think the people made a mistake when they asked to have their taxes rolled back, because certainly people want more money in their pockets. But I also know that when people walk into my office asking for services, they tell me they would rather have their senior citizens have pharmacy programs than have an extra $100 in their pocket. I think you have to look at it from the time that the vote was taken and also look at it now. We're facing a question on the ballot that's going to, eliminate the income tax. People don't understand that if they do that, that's over a quarter of our state budget. That's many of the services that we're talking about here today: transportation, education, preserving conservation land. We as legislators need to tackle that issue, but we also need to do it in a fair and rational manner. People want to have their taxes rolled back. If that's the decision that they make, then that decision is going to have some serious consequences on Beacon Hill, and at that time the legislature is going to have to deal with that.
Thank you.